Hey guys, real Mr. Robinson here. Sorry for a lack of movie reviews. My full-time job has gotten crazier, and that's actually pretty much it. The full-time job has been crazy, so I haven't really been able to review any new movies after Hitman and Cars. But hey, I'm back. I did see Straight Outta Compton, and we're gonna talk about that. Straight Outta Compton is pretty much the rise and fall biopic story of N.W.A, which include the members Arabian Prince, DJ Yella, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, Ice Cube, and MC Ren. Basically, if you don't know who N.W.A is, I don't know how, because they were such a big influence worldwide at the time. They were a hip-hop group that basically took over the world. Now, I'm not all that familiar with N.W.A. I'm not a big rap guy in general, but I gotta say, this movie really did surprise the hell out of me. And this is directed by F. Gary Gray, who did the remake of The Italian Job with Mark Wahlberg and Charlize Theron, and he was actually in line to do Captain America and the Winter Soldier, or at least in the running. But he pulled out, I think, to work on Straight Outta Compton, which is really good because A, I don't know how Winter Soldier could have been better than it already is, and B, F. Gary Gray has made what I think is one of the best movies of the year. Now, like with all biopics, there are some aspects that are not going to be covered or just glossed over, but let's get into what's good. One of the performances are really good, especially from Corey Hawkins, who plays Dr. Dre, and O'Shea Jackson Jr., who plays his dad, Ice Cube. Yes, Ice Cube's son plays Ice Cube in this movie, and he is really good. Outside the fact that he looks like his dad, O'Shea Jackson really does give a great performance, and I saw an interview where somebody asked him, so what was it like prepping for the role of your father? And I just wanted him to say, the fact that I've lived with him my whole life is what prepped me for the role. I don't know, that's funny. Regardless, all the other performances are good, but those two definitely stood out. Another great performance in this movie is by Paul Giamatti, who plays their manager, Jerry Heller, which is interesting that Paul Giamatti played not quite the similar role in Love and Mercy, but it's funny that he would appear in two biopics about two famous bands, the Beach Boys and then N.W.A, and appear as the villain, except here he's not really villainized that much. No one really is, which is something that I'll get to in a bit. But again, he and all the other actors are really good in the movie. There's not one weak performance that I can think of. Some of the things that I have to really give credit for is that it deals with some social issues that happened back in the late 80s, early 90s that, funny enough, are still relevant today, like police brutality and harassment, which, as we all know, led to the song Fuck the Police, which I'm very surprised when a movie takes some political issues from decades ago and those issues somehow are really relevant today. So that's something I really appreciate. And the movie made me appreciate rap and the music of N.W.A a little bit more because you get to see basically where these songs came from and that these songs are a reflection of their upbringing, like their life that I did not experience. Now, I might not be entirely on board with a lot of the other things that N.W.A and its members have been known for, but in terms of like rap, it made me have a much bigger appreciation for the genre. And on the outside, yes, it is an N.W.A biopic and a rise and fall story, but at its core, I think it's a very inspirational movie, like taking some aspects of your personal life and applying them to an art. Any artist out there, whether it's a musician, filmmaker, or an actual artist that paints, taking things from your personal life will really make a difference, and it can help people really relate to you and your work. So I really like how the movie has that aspect. And then it's got some emotionally powerful scenes that could bring you to tears at times, and for a movie that's 2.5 hours long, I was never bored. But let's move into some negatives about the movie, because I don't think it's a perfect movie. Like I just said, for being 2.5 hours and never boring, I felt like the second half of the movie, once they start to disband and drift apart and go their separate ways, I don't think it's as interesting as seeing the group get together and basically have their rise to power. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. It still really works. But the first half is just simply great, and then the second half is good. And then some of the things that, and one other negative, and going back to something else I mentioned, is that not all biopics really chronicle every aspect of what it's about. And a lot of the negative stuff that I've heard about N.W.A. is either glossed over or ignored at all. Like, one of the more famous ones is how Dr. Dre was just abusive towards women, because in this movie they make him a very likable guy. He's the guy you'd like really want to hang out with, when in real life he really was abusive towards women. And even after his apology that came out in the wake of this film's release, some of the women have said, no, I don't accept it. I mean, I can understand with any biopic that's trying to portray its subject as a hero, they're not going to really villainize them. But if you take a look at Wolf of Wall Street, Martin Scorsese managed to make Leonardo DiCaprio's portrayal of Jordan Belfort something to where you could look at this guy and say, you know what, I really want his life, but God, is he an asshole. And I felt like the movie, it would have been more interesting had they showed the negative stuff of N.W.A. But regardless of that, it's a great biopic. It's entertaining. It has some funny moments, some dramatic moments, and it's somewhat eye-opening. So I can't quite say, unfortunately, I can't quite say get off your ass and go see it right now, because I don't think I was really in love with it. But I think it is one of the best movies of the year, and it definitely made me appreciate a music genre that I wasn't really into that much. So, worth seeing in your lifetime, although the movie's been out for 2 weeks, so chances are you've probably seen it already. But hey, I just wanted to offer my opinion. Better late than never. And that's my review for Straight Outta Compton. Leave a comment and tell me what you thought of the movie. If you've seen it, what did you think? Like, subscribe, share me with your friends. And this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you, there is only one.